Hello students, welcome back. This is chapter 3 of David Copperfield. The chapter's title is called Everything is Different. So we can imagine that now everything is gonna change in David's life. Let's begin. David went to Yarmouth where he met Mrs. Gummidge, Mr. Peggotty, he was Peggotty's brother, Emily and Ham. Mr. Peggotty welcomed David to the house and though little Emily was shy, but she overcame that and she sat beside David. Emily's father died in the sea, and Mr. Peggotty was her uncle, so he took care of her and raised her as his own child. David and Emily would go to walk on the beach every day, collecting shells and stones, and one day David confessed his childish love to her and threatened to kill himself if she didn't love him back. So she said that she loved him too. This is a childish love. He just told her as a child, I love you and I want to marry you and stuff like that, and she told him, I love you too. When the time came to leave Yarmouth, David was sad to leave Emily, Ham, Mr. Peggotty and Mrs. Gummidge, but he was excited at the same time to go back to his house and to be reunited with his mother. At the way back home, David could see that Peggotty was nervous and worried about something, but he couldn't know what it was. Let's see. David got off the cart happily to meet his mother once again, but he was surprised to see a strange servant opening the door, and his mother wasn't at the gate to welcome him back. Peggotty stopped David from running into the house and took him to the kitchen, where a nervous discussion began between them. So what did Peggotty tell David? Peggotty didn't know how to tell David the news of his mother's marriage, and in her hesitance, because she was hesitated to tell him or not to tell him, David thought that there was bad news and that his mother may have died out. But Peggotty told him that Clara was okay and that the news of her marriage should have been told to him earlier. When David thought of his mother getting married again, something made him think of his father's grave. He imagined that his father came back alive and they were married again, and he couldn't understand the meaning of having a new father. So David went in to see his mother and her new husband, though he didn't want to meet him, but their meeting didn't go as he hoped it to be. When Clara's eyes fell on David when she saw David, she stopped what she was doing and she wanted to rush at him and hug him with affection, with love, but she stopped, as if something or someone stopped her. The one was her new husband, Mr. Murdstone. So the one who controlled Clara or stopped Clara from showing affection to David was her new husband, Mr. Murdstone, who told her to control herself and not to shower David with affection and kisses. She kissed David shyly and patted him on the shoulder, then sat back at her chair. Pat means to gently put your hand on someone. David couldn't understand why his mother was acting like that, but he knew that it has something to do with the fact that Mr. Murdstone was standing there watching them. So David turned to the window and looked out. This shows us that David was disappointed in meeting his mother the way she is now. He didn't want to meet her like that. He wanted her to kiss him and hug him and show him love, but he was disappointed. David went to his room to sleep, but he was surprised to find out that his room was now in another part of the house. He found his room not in the regular place. He found that it was changed and he was sent away to another part away from his original room, and it was away from his mother's room. So now we can see that Mr. Murdstone is controlling the house. He changed David's room and put him in another part of the house away from Clara. And that wasn't the only thing changed in the house. But the empty dog house wasn't empty anymore. At first, David had a dog house that there was no dog in it before he travels. But when he came back, he saw that the house had a dog in it. Mr. Murdstone brought a big black-haired dog, as dark as Mr. Murdstone, which was very angry at the sight of David, and he jumped to attack him. Thank you, guys, and we will discuss the questions after that. Hello, students. Welcome back. This is chapter 3 of David Copperfield. The chapter's title is called Everything is Different. So we can imagine that now everything is gonna change in David's life. Let's begin. David went to Yarmouth